will be able to give you the floor and answer your questions. Nous allons avoir cet après-midi une conversation, un échange, un partage d'expériences entre deux entrepreneurs africains et la directeur générale de stratégie basée au Cameroun qui vont partager leur expérience. Nous allons vivre l'expérience, l'histoire de stratégie et nous allons également offrir la possibilité à notre charmant public que vous êtes de poser des questions. Alors, n'hésitez pas de nous laisser des commentaires dans le chat room afin que notre équipe puisse collecter cela et nous allons répondre à vos questions au fur et à mesure. Vous aurez la possibilité d'échanger avec les intervenants sur ce forum afin que l'échange soit vraiment cordial et que tout le monde puisse participer. Alors, en tant qu'intervieweur, nous en avons deux. Le premier, c'est M. Raphaël Songuet, qui vient de Camer Startup, un incubateur créé en 2013 et qui aujourd'hui a déjà accompagné plus de 700 entreprises, plus de 700 startups et qui a également mis sur pied un ensemble d'initiatives telles que Douala FinTech Tour, le Grand Prix de l'innovation organisé par le patronat ECAM. Et M. Raphaël Songuet est également à plusieurs casquettes, fondateur du cabinet Exclusium Consulting Salle. Il est coach en entrepreneuriat, consultant et un audit formateur. We will also have Mr. James Akaba, who is joining us from Open Dreams. He's currently providing services as the country director of Open Dreams, a small international non-profit organization with headquarters in New York, and he's managing the office in Cameroon. He's member also of many organizations, including the Cameroon Fulbright Alumni Associations, Digital Rights Coalition, and also the International ACAC, where he's a scholar. African Leading Educators Network, just to mention a few. So he's really active. He has extensive travel experience across the globe, and we are sure he's going to also to build on that experience during the exchange with Ms. Kawala. He has been working on issues of governance, democracy, and human rights, building human capital and entrepreneurship. So these are our two interviewers who are going to lead the conversation with Ms. Kawala, which I'm sure a lot of you already know. She's a woman, yes, and she's still young, actually. She started strategies 25 years ago. She's the general manager, and with a strong leadership, she has been able to build and grow this young organization internationally. She's also a strong woman. She also believes that any people deserve the right and the chance to build systems. She's also a caring person, and please feel free to really enjoy the conversation with this great entrepreneur. Kawala est une femme, c'est vrai, mais c'est une femme pas comme les autres parce qu'il y a 25 ans, elle a eu la brillante idée de mettre sur pied un cabinet qui aujourd'hui fait ses preuves à travers le monde entier. C'est parti du local, ça a grandi au niveau national et aujourd'hui c'est à l'international. Aujourd'hui, c'est vrai qu'elle a multiples casquettes, mais on va se focaliser aujourd'hui sur cette casquette d'entrepreneur, de femmes entrepreneurs, de femmes africaines entrepreneurs pour vivre cette expérience et nous espérons vivement que vous allez prendre plaisir à cet échange, apprendre beaucoup et surtout que cela puisse vous permettre également de développer vos organisations en Afrique, à travers le monde, où que vous soyez. Alors, je vais laisser la parole à M. Songuet et Mr. Akaba. Nous allons avoir un échange qui porte sur les ressources humaines parce que la ressource humaine est capitale pour toute organisation qui veut grandir, pour toute organisation qui se veut pérenne. Nous allons également aborder les questions d'entrepreneuriat en Afrique, c'est notamment les questions de levée de fonds, les questions d'environnement avec les challenges que les entrepreneurs rencontrent. Et enfin, nous aurons un échange vraiment ouvert sur différents sujets en fonction des besoins et des attentes de notre cher public. We are going to have a conversation around two main topics: human resources, because any organizations, even if you have the best vision, the best strategic plan, if you don't have the people to drive this and to implement all this, you will not go not far. So we are going to talk about building human resources, managing them, making sure you create impact in the people you are working with. We are also going to talk about entrepreneurship globally in Africa. What does it take to raise funds? What are the key challenges we are facing around in our environment? So we are also going to talk about that. And the last part will be a real open discussion depending on the needs and the expectations of the audience. So please enjoy, and I will hand over to the interviewer who are going to lead the conversation. So Mr. Songe and Mr. Kaba, you have the floor.
Okay, bonsoir à tous. Premièrement, j'aimerais vous dire félicitations. Félicitations, pourquoi? Parce qu'au bout de 25 années, il faut dire que le cabinet stratégie, c'est un cabinet que je connais personnellement. Quand je dis personnellement, c'est que sur le plan personnel, j'ai eu à faire un certain nombre d'activités dans mon cursus universitaire. Et le plus souvent, on avait souvent recours à Madame Kawala, qui nous a beaucoup accompagnés pendant nos activités. Parce que ce qu'il faut dire, c'est que je suis un ancien membre de l'AIESEC, et c'est quelqu'un qui nous a énormément soutenus en fait dans nos programmes, et qui nous a également mentorés, et cela dans plusieurs domaines. Donc, j'aimerais juste vous encourager en fait à aller de l'avant avant d'entrer dans le vif du sujet. Donc, c'est vrai, on a un ensemble de questions, on aimerait savoir un certain nombre de choses en tant qu'entrepreneur. Et ma première question, en fait, c'est vrai sur le terme, sur le plan des ressources humaines. J'aimerais poser une certaine question à Madame Kawala. J'aimerais lui demander, en fait, quel est le conseil qu'elle peut donner, donc quel est le conseil que vous pouvez donner à un jeune entrepreneur qui doit former son équipe en vue de créer une entreprise performante aujourd'hui. Parce qu'on sait qu'en termes de management d'équipe, ce n'est pas toujours évident pour un jeune. Donc, comment est-ce qu'il peut s'entourer, en fait, je vais dire, de personnes performantes, en fait. Donc, quel est le conseil, je reprends ma question, quel est le conseil que vous pouvez donner à un jeune entrepreneur qui doit former son équipe en vue de créer une entreprise performante?
Bonsoir.
Je ne sais pas si j'ai été assez clair.
Oui, c'est assez clair. Bonsoir à tout le monde. Et je vais juste m'assurer que mon audio est OK. Vous m'entendez assez bien?
Parfaitement à mon niveau. Oui.
OK, d'accord. Très bien. Il faut me signaler parce que l'Internet est très fluctuante aujourd'hui. Ce que je pourrais dire par rapport à l'équipe, je crois que l'équipe, c'est vraiment la chose essentielle quand on commence à tous les stades d'une entreprise. L'entreprise repose sur ses équipes. Et je crois que globalement, en recrutant, il y a la règle de 3 choses clés. En anglais, on dit KSA, knowledge, skills, attitude. Donc, la connaissance, les aptitudes et l'attitude. C'est vraiment le trio qu'il faut déjà soi-même définir, parce que je crois que ce qui se passe dans les petites entreprises, c'est que le processus de recrutement est souvent pas très formalisé. On ne s'assoit pas vraiment pour se poser la question de quoi est-ce qu'on a besoin, qu'est-ce qu'on attend vraiment de cette personne. Et une manière facile de faire ça, c'est cette petite règle de connaissances, aptitudes et attitudes. Lister vraiment quelles sont les connaissances absolument nécessaires pour ce poste, quelles sont les aptitudes, j'ai besoin que cette personne sache faire quoi, et puis quel type d'attitude est-ce que j'ai, de quel type d'attitude est-ce que j'ai besoin. Dans l'entreprise, en fonction du poste, on a besoin de différents types d'attitudes. En front office, quelqu'un qui va être en contact avec la clientèle, etc., on veut bien sûr cette personne qui a le contact facile, qui a la capacité de s'entretenir avec les gens, qui aime convaincre, qui sait convaincre, etc. En back-office, peut-être pour élaborer le produit, on a peut-être besoin de quelqu'un dont l'attitude, c'est beaucoup plus de sens de détail, la précision, quelqu'un qui peut-être n'a pas le contact le plus facile, mais est quelqu'un qui est vraiment concentré sur l'aspect technique du travail. Donc, on a besoin de définir le KSA pour le poste. Ça, je trouve que trop peu de petites entreprises, et parfois même des grandes entreprises, ne le font pas. Donc, ça, c'est la première des choses. Deuxièmement, il est important d'être honnête, à mon avis. Quand nous avons commencé Stratégie, nous avons passé, je crois, je ne me rappelle plus exactement maintenant, mais entre 2 et 3 ans, où tout le monde avait le même salaire. Du CEO jusqu'au plus petit employé, on avait 100 000 francs chacun. Et c'était ce qu'on pouvait se permettre à ce stade-là. Donc, quand vous êtes vraiment au niveau start-up, il ne faut pas faire croire aux gens que vous allez les donner des millions. Mais il ne faut pas aussi que les employés aient l'impression que vous êtes en train de les exploiter. Donc, quand on commence, c'est quelque chose qu'on bâtit ensemble, qu'on est en train de construire ensemble. Donc, il faut cette solidarité-là, à mon avis, même sur le plan salarial. Et il faut être honnête avec les employés et dire, voici ce que nous pouvons vous offrir. Parce qu'une petite entreprise peut rarement, ça arrive, mais c'est rare qu'elle puisse être compétitive sur le plan salarial, mais par contre, elle est à mesure d'offrir des opportunités d'apprentissage, d'offrir des opportunités de prise de responsabilité, d'offrir des opportunités d'acquérir des connaissances qu'une grande entreprise ne peut pas. Moi, je dis toujours à un stagiaire, vaut mieux aller faire son stage dans une petite entreprise que d'aller dans une grande multinationale. Dans la multinationale, vous allez faire des photocopies et faire du café, etc. Dans la petite entreprise, vous allez faire du vrai travail. Donc, la petite entreprise doit savoir comment vendre à l'employé ces avantages qu'elle a et pour attirer du personnel de qualité. Voilà, je m'arrête d'abord là parce que je crois que James a une question. James?
Yeah, Madam Kawala, thank you so much for devoting time to share your expertise so that a lot of people can benefit. I started falling in love with your high-level service attitudes and professionalism while just listening to you on radio, such a phenomenal woman. So we are lucky today to have you on this platform to tap into some of your experiences. So without any waste of time, Strategies has been such a huge success, and I'm interested in knowing a little bit about the team. So please share some experiences, share something about the people behind the consultancy firm, who they are, what expertise they bring on the table, and how you put into practice the strategies you teach other organizations within strategies. Hence, tell us about the organizational setup. We know a lot of consultancy firms like yours collapse when they're just starting because they have a problem on how to manage the structure. So tell us a little bit about the strategies. Thank you.
Thank you. So strategies, I can say we have generations of teams. We have generations of teams because we've built the company over the 25 years with different sets of teams. The first thing I think that is really important that we started off with from day one, we have a very formal, very, structured recruitment process. I think our recruitment process is maybe stricter than some of the largest companies at least in Cameroon. And that strict recruitment process allowed us to select people who were really the best fit for our company. And in our recruitment process, we are not looking for degrees. If you look at degrees, at strategies, you will find people who have a sort of very classic background for consultancy. So you will find people who studied economics, who studied sociology, who studied management. But you will also find people like myself. I have an undergraduate degree in zoology. We have hired people who had degrees in mathematics. We have hired people who had degrees in biology. So we are looking less for a degree. We are looking for an ability to think. As I mentioned, for us as consultants, the first thing I look for is relational. As a consultant, you have to be able to relate to others. You have to be able to relate to your clients and to your teammates. So I look for that ability, that emotional intelligence to be able to relate to others. And secondly, I look at analytical capacity, the capacity to solve problems, because basically as consultants, we are problem solvers. So over the years, we have had a good number of teams. Like most consulting businesses, we usually keep people on board for between 5 and 8 years. So that has meant that we developed a system. You rarely see us working on a project solo. So we have a team system. We always have 2 people working on a project at the same time, a senior consultant and a junior consultant. The junior consultant is always learning, but it is a learning by doing. We don't just have them sitting down and observing. They are taking on responsibility and they're exercising skills as we go along. So that tandem structure is something that is key to our organizational setup. It is sometimes difficult to sell it to clients because clients are used to having one consultant. And especially when we travel, we have to convince the client that you should pay an extra ticket, you should pay an extra hotel room. So sometimes that makes it difficult. And honestly, sometimes we have lost contracts because we insist on that tandem system, but we insist on it because our sustainability depends on it. I'm very proud of myself today. I just convinced the client that we should have 3 consultants on a project, and to pay for that extra ticket and hotel. So it is something that we've developed over time. The other thing is that we have a very structured onboarding system. So when you come into strategies, you are generally in a professional internship for 3 to 6 months. We try to not go over 6 months. At 6 months, we should know, and you should know, whether we want to go on together or not. So we try to keep the internship 3 to 6 months, during which time you have monthly objectives, you are learning very specific skills, so you have a roadmap for those 6 months, and you are also getting a monthly evaluation. So this helps you to learn quickly, get feedback throughout the process, and enables us to, as managers, to figure out, is this person going to be the right fit for strategies or not? We have a system where senior consultants manage teams, and we kind of work on a project basis, where for this project, we put together a team. For another project, we put together a team. So people are changing the people with whom they work with, and they're changing the types of experiences that they're having and learning new skills. And therefore, it also helps that person to learn and the company to learn, what are you really good at? What are the things where you may not be as good at, and somebody else should always be on your team to complete you. So I think teams are less about one person being capable to do it all. I don't, we always say the recruiter is looking for the 5-legged horse. There are very, very, very few 5-legged horses or unicorns. But you are looking that the team should complete one another. So this person should be bringing in a strength that completes the strengths of this other person and makes the team complete. I think that's what I can say about that.
Okay. Donc, merci, Madame Kawala.
That's very deep and a lot from you. Raphael, can you move on?
Yeah, you can move on. OK, merci pour ces informations aussi précieuses. Donc, ce qu'il faut dire, comme je l'ai dit tout à l'heure, c'est que effectivement, on est dans un environnement où on a besoin d'une bonne équipe pour aller le plus loin possible. Donc, c'est des informations assez pertinentes et assez clés qu'un jeune entrepreneur aujourd'hui doit pouvoir en fait mettre sur pied pour aller le plus loin possible. Donc, ce que je vais faire, c'est que je vais repasser tout simplement la parole à James qui va poser sa, qui va continuer là, tout simplement. So, James,
yes, thank you, Raphael. Yeah, so Madam Kawala, let's move to the next. Let me ask you the next question. In most instances and most businesses, worker satisfaction is often not as valued as customer satisfaction by many enterprises. Tell us the little things you do to keep your members of staff motivated and smiling while they execute their duties.
Great. Yes. So I think worker satisfaction is extremely important, and for small businesses, it is even more important. Once again, larger businesses can often compensate people financially in a way that smaller business cannot. So, sometimes in a large business, maybe you don't have the nicest working environment, maybe people are not so nice, but you have a nice salary, you have a big car, you get a housing allowance and so on. So you kind of are like, well, I'm going to, I'm going to stay here. When as a small company, you don't have all that to offer people. So you definitely should be looking at the working environment and at worker satisfaction. I think one of the things that's very important in the beginning, we are at strategies, we are very focused on what do you want? What are you trying to accomplish? Because we see the company as we have a vision and objectives, which should be in synergy with your personal vision and objectives. So, sorry, I'm on my I'm on my veranda and I realize there's a dog somewhere who is either happy or unhappy. But we talk about synergy. So we are very interested in our interview process about where you are going, what your professional ambitions are. When we set up our monthly objectives, it's a discussion. What do you want to learn? What do you want your to improve your skills in? So we are constantly trying to merge your personal needs and wants with what the company is doing. So that is a key element of worker satisfaction. Two is that it is in our company values. Our company values is we believe in people. We believe in their innate ability to succeed. We believe in their people being given a fair chance. So we do our very best to make sure that we are being fair in the company. We try to be as transparent as possible on questions of how is it that you progress at strategies. It should not be a mystery. It should not be about Madame Kawala or any other person in the company likes you or does not like you. It should be objective. You should know what are the objectives that I am supposed to meet, and you should already be able to evaluate yourself. So we have a form, an evaluation form, and evaluation for us always starts with self-evaluation, with you saying, okay, these are the objectives we agreed upon. This is what we said would be done. And you should have the ability to say, I have been able to do that successfully or not. So, these are some of the elements of worker satisfaction. And the final point I'm going to raise, which may seem odd, is that as a small company, you must realize that your room for growth for employees is limited. So in small companies, after in strategies, you're a junior consultant, you're a senior consultant, and then, you can be CEO. So there's not a whole lot of places to go. So keeping that in mind, you have to do two things. One is you must allow people to grow horizontally, to get new experiences, to go and lead projects and lead different kinds of things, number one. And number two is that when they are ready to go, to leave the company and go somewhere else, let them go. You should manage departure such that it is as professional and as pleasant for all of you as it can be. We have a very strong network of people we call ex-strategies, who are people who used to work for strategies. We stay in touch. Last month we were having our first in-person celebration, and we had lots of our former employees there. We will work together because many of them remain in consulting. So they do consulting work, and we work together. We bid on contracts together. We will train together. So sometimes we'll be like, well, there's this new topic. You don't know it. We don't know it. Let's get together and do this training together. So our network spreads to our former employees. Some of them have left and gone to other companies. They create business for us. They give us business. So, I think that worker satisfaction is important. Realizing the possibilities and the constraints of a small company is important, and maintaining the network of former employees is also very important.
Thank you so much.
Very much. Thank you very much. This is really amazing. Like, growing from 0 to 25 really takes a journey. As strategies, as a leader, thank you and congratulations, Ms. Kawala, for really taking us through the process of building human capital, building people. Si nous voulons être pérennes, nous avons besoin d'avoir du personnel qui est recruté de manière objective. On n'a pas besoin de se focaliser sur les diplômes, mais de se focaliser sur les capacités des personnes à véritablement réfléchir, à se poser des questions, à avoir un esprit analytique orienté solution, mais aussi qui est capable de construire la relation avec les différentes parties prenantes de l'organisation, de l'entreprise. Mais recruter ce personnel demande que nous puissions être clairs à la base sur le type de personnes souhaitons. Et cela demande à chacun de nous en tant qu'entrepreneur de se poser la question, quelles sont les compétences que ces personnes apportent, mais surtout, quelles sont les attitudes de ces personnes? Est-ce qu'elles vont pouvoir s'adapter à l'environnement? Est-ce qu'elles vont pouvoir permettre à l'organisation d'accroître en termes de visibilité tout en créant de l'impact au sein de ces différents clients? Ce que nous retenons aussi, c'est qu'en tant qu'entrepreneurs, nous avons besoin d'être clairs, d'être honnêtes avec notre personnel. Nous devons dire ce que nous pouvons faire, ce que nous pouvons réaliser, mais surtout réaliser ce que nous disons. Alors, la question, c'est quelles opportunités que nous offrons au personnel que nous sommes en train de recruter. Ce personnel qui a besoin d'arriver dans la maison en 3 à 6 mois, de faire un processus dans lequel il est accompagné, dans lequel il peut travailler en équipe, mais dans lequel il apprend surtout et est capable de s'évaluer lui-même tout en ayant une évaluation venant des différentes équipes afin que l'organisation soit capable de prendre la bonne décision. Est-ce que je recrute définitivement cette personne ou est-ce que nous allons nous séparer? Quel qu'en soit le processus, la personne doit pouvoir sortir de là gagnante because people can create, people have the ability to create and we should give them the chance to create, to coach them and also to self-evaluate before we give them a feedback and be able to make an objective decision on if we are retaining the person. Most important is that people should get satisfaction of their job. And what I would like to say from this is really the company's growth should match personal growth. If you are not growing in the company, you will not be able to make the company grow. And to build on these amazing points, we will take the questions from one person who is asking you, Ms. Kawala, what is the advice you could give to a young Cameroonian who is actually staying abroad but really willing to start a business in Cameroon and is afraid about the political situation in Cameroon? I think this question is also going to lead us to the point about the environment of startups and also of SMEs in Cameroon, in Africa, and beyond. So over to you, Kawala, with these questions about the political situation of Cameroon and about starting a business. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that question, which is coming, I think, from Cass Fangbeng. Yeah, that's a tough question. It's a very, very tough question. I think I was mentioning yesterday in preparing for this celebration, we were looking at some photographs and I saw a picture of myself with Carlos Slim, who is one of the biggest entrepreneurs in Mexico, and Marilyn Carlson Nelson, who is an American entrepreneur. And the two of them are amongst the richest people in the world. And I sat with them on a panel in 2009. And I was so confident in that panel. I was so sure that both my country, Cameroon, and Africa as a continent was really on the brink of breakthrough, politically, economically, and so on. And I was so sure that within the next 4 or 5 years, we would have done everything that is necessary for Africa's economic growth and for Cameroon's economic growth. So the question is tough because 10 years later, 11 years later, things have, in my opinion, not gotten better. In many ways, they've gotten a little bit worse. The only thing I can say, Cass, is that we are here in spite of the very tough political situation. We are here and we are doing business in the same way that a lot of other Cameroonians are, and most certainly a lot of other Africans are. And I think that what we have to do in this environment is to analyze very, very carefully what are the opportunities? What are the types of businesses that we can do, which can thrive in spite of this environment? At the level of strategies, what we did was to take our business international. At around 2000, by 2007, 2008, the Cameroonian economy was really shaky, and we thought, you know, we better move into other markets so that we are able to keep a certain stability of our annual sales. In the beginning, we moved into the market. We did about 30, 40%. That moved to 60, 70% outside Cameroon. And today we do over 90% of our business outside of Cameroon. There are years, I think like this year, where we do 100% of our business outside Cameroon. So in spite of COVID, in spite of the fact that we've not been able to travel, we have done, 100% of our business outside of Cameroon this year. So I think it depends on the sector. You need to analyze it very carefully. You do not be, I hear some people being, I can say, how can I say, they want to sort of positive think their way out of a political and economic environment. I don't think that's smart business. I think you need to look at that environment head on. You need to analyze it for what it is, and then you need to make decisions about what kind of business and how should I do my business in this environment. There's no point in saying, oh, I think this is going to pass over. Oh, I think this is going to get better. Oh, I think no, you look at it, you follow trends. So one of the things that we do at Strategies, where we help other companies, is we do macro trends for the entire African continent, for certain regions in Africa, in different sectors, macro trends with regard to security, with regard to the economy, with regard to the political situation, to be able to look at the situation head on and say, here's the situation, and then analyze what are the possibilities in this particular situation. So in Cameroon, people are doing business. There are businesses that no matter what, they will always work. People are always going to eat. People are always going to clothe themselves. People are always going to need fuel. They're always going to need bread. They're going to, so there's a lot of business that can be done in spite of the fact that the economy is not what it should be, and that the political situation is not what it should be. So I would say analyze it carefully and find out whether your type of business can function in this environment. The other thing I think is very important is hedge your bets. So make sure that you, like I told you, we diversified our markets because of the political situation we saw in Cameroon. Definitely because the CEO was also becoming a political leader. So we did not feel like we could remain 100% dependent on this market. We had to have markets that were less sensitive for us. And I think other people will look in other sectors at other factors. The other thing in Africa is, you know, look at Africa as a whole. There are other economies in Africa which are growing, which are reforming, which are improving themselves for business every day. And Cameroonians are very, very competitive in those environments. You go to Rwanda, that we talk about a lot, you will meet a lot of Cameroonians in Rwanda doing excellent work. You go to Ghana, you're going to meet Cameroonians doing really, really good work. You go to Nigeria. So I would say don't restrain yourself just to Cameroon. Look at our continent as a whole. And today, with the internet, with the infrastructure that we have, you have the possibility of doing business in many, many places. Yeah. Let me just answer the second part of the question, which was, are there some business customs that are specific to Cameroon in particular and Africa as a whole? I don't know whether Cass is asking about corruption. Business practices which are specific to Cameroon, I think Cameroon is very similar to many other parts of the world. You do business in an office, but you also do business over lunch. You do it over a meal. You also do it in recreational activities. But if your question is about corruption, of course, in Cameroon and many other African countries, corruption is rampant. It's here, and you have to make decisions about corruption. I can tell you that at Strategies, we decided right from the start that we will never pay to obtain a contract. We are not going to bribe our tax official. We are not going to bribe, so we don't pay bribes, period. That has a price. I'm not going to lie to you. It has a price. It means that we've lost contracts because we would not pay the bribe. We were the most qualified for the contract, and we were asked for a bribe in the last stage, and we decided not to give it. That's a very, very difficult moment. It's a very, very tough decision in the life of an entrepreneur, but we decided not to do that. You also have moments where it's very tough. I remember we had equipment that had come in from Germany, and we use these boards in doing our work. The boards are very expensive in and of themselves. One board is about 400,000 francs CFA. And we were getting asked, the boards were sitting in customs, and very clearly somebody was suggesting that we pay a bribe to get our boards. We did not feel that we should do that. So that meant we took the long way around. Generally, not paying the bribe will cost you in time. It will cost you in your effort, because it means that you have to knock on extra doors, you have to find the boss, you have to make your case, and so on. But we have decided not to do that. One of our key values is that we will make money in dignity. We will make money in a way that preserves our humanity and our dignity. And for us, that means that we do not bribe. So those customs are there. I think it's a real choice between what are your values, who are you as a person, and are you willing to pay the price? There is a price. There is a price, and you have to determine whether you're willing to pay it or not. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, that was an amazing answer, so deep and very enlightening. I would love to move straight to my next question. At Open Dreams, we work with the best possible students who are highly intelligent. They have to go out there, study, and come back to develop Cameroon. But sometimes we have to, we wrestle with them to get them to come back to Cameroon. So many Cameroonians and Africans with such brilliant ideas as you have at strategies and leadership capabilities often prefer settling Europe or North America, where their services are often more valued and they get the worth of their input as compared to Cameroon and Africa. What drew your passion into settling in Douala after all the global exposure, given again that Cameroon is a politically turbulent country? After all the education you've had and after all these stellar capabilities, you decided to.
Yes. That's do you guys have some excellent questions?
From you.
You really have some excellent questions. Once again, I think that, you know, maybe the most important thing that a CEO and any person can do is the initial work to figure out what is my fundamental mission. Me, not the company, not the, you know, not me as a staff. It's driving force. What do I want to accomplish as a human being in my journey? You know, I have a personal mission. Which I developed way back before I started my company, thinking about what do I want to leave behind? What do I want as my personal legacy? And I think that work is important because it will guide the kind of company that you build. It will guide the decisions you make with regard to your company. Is my internet okay? Are you hearing me?
Yes, we are following you diligently. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, your images froze on my screen, so I I was afraid. So I think figuring out your personal mission and your personal values, I think especially in our countries in Africa, especially in a country like Cameroon, you need to sit down and figure out what are my values, because unfortunately, you know, in some environments, the environment is built to help you have certain values. We have an environment that, you know, goes against certain fundamental values of integrity, of human dignity, of justice, and so on. So you have to figure out what are my values as an individual, and you know, how am I going to live my life in a way that respects those values? That will help you as you're building a company, because definitely the CEO will set that. I think is one of the fundamental aspects of leadership. The CEO's job, the leader's job, is to set mission, value, and build culture. This is one of the things I think is not talked about enough, and people don't realize that as the head of an organization, you are responsible for that organization's culture, its mission, its vision, its values, the way people talk, the way people present themselves, the way what kind of values they respect is going to be determined by you as a leader. So that long answer was to say that personally, I always felt that my mission is to give back to Cameroon and to give back to Africa. I happen to come from fairly fortunate circumstance. My parents were middle class, maybe even upper middle class. I got an amazing education, and somewhere in there, they taught me that one of my fundamental things to do was to give back. The saying, to whom much has been given, much is expected. So for me, giving back was very important to my continent, to my country. And I also still fundamentally ask myself the question, because James, the temptation does not go away. I got a job offer last week that made my head spin. You get an offer for a job that offers you a salary that is more than what your company makes in a year. And you of course, you kind of sit and think, this is interesting. And it's an interesting job. It's a job that works for Africa. It's a job that works on women's issues. It's a job that works on things which are close to my heart. But I always ask myself, so if we all run away, if we are all moving to somebody else's country, if we are all moving to some other part of the world, then who is going to fix Cameroon? Who is going to fix Africa? And today, I honestly believe that the emigration, the loss of our talent and our people, some of its most vibrant, because people who move are also those who are proactive, inventive, creative, and they're looking for that space where they can express themselves. I think if all of us move, I wonder who will build our own homes. So those questions to me are fundamental. And then we have been lucky enough at Strategies, we set out to, in the beginning, from day one, we said, we're not going to be the best Cameroonian firm, consulting firm. We're not going to be the best African consulting firm. We are going to be the best, period. End of sentence. And by setting our standards at that level, at saying we're going to be world-class, we built a company that is competitive anywhere in the world. I think one of the greatest things that happens to our consultants is to find themselves with American consultants, South African consultants, German consultants, and to discover we are at least as good, and in many, many cases, we are better. So I think it's also about realizing that you as an African in Africa, you can build something which is world-class. You can build something which is competitive almost everywhere in the world. However, that is, I am not one of those who says, well, then we should just accept Africa as it is because you can find your way out, you can make, I don't think so. I think we deserve much better, much better than what we have as Cameroonians, much better than what we have as Africans, and that we should fight for it. We should fight for it because this is not our lot. This is not our lot. We were not meant to live without electricity, with bad schools and bad roads and bad hospitals. I do not believe that God put us on this earth to live that life. And so I think that we should fight for it. But it is my conviction that only us, only we can actually build that. Yeah.
OK, merci, Madame Kawala. J'aimerais un peu qu'on parle de financement à présent. Donc, savons que vous êtes une femme très présente sur la scène politique et également chef d'entreprise. Donc, vous cumulez deux casquettes telles que nous le savons. Est-ce que dans la gestion quotidienne de votre cabinet, y aurait-il pas un impact avec vos activités politiques? Donc, ma question est de savoir, est-ce que le financement de vos activités politiques n'impacte-t-il pas votre cabinet. Parce que ce qu'il faut dire, c'est qu'aujourd'hui, nous avons des managers ou des chefs d'entreprise qui le plus souvent confondent un peu la trésorerie, voilà, la trésorerie en fait la trésorerie personnelle avec la trésorerie de leur entreprise. Est-ce que vous vous situez également comme les 90% de nos chefs d'entreprise africains, où vous confondez parfois la trésorerie? Il peut arriver, je veux dire, que vous confondiez en fait ces deux notions-là. Est-ce que, bon, y aurait-il pas une sorte de confusion en fait?
Alors,
le financement de vos activités politiques n'impacte-t-il pas en fait la gestion de votre cabinet?
Alors, merci. Je trouve vraiment vos questions excellentes et pratiques. La réponse à cette question très simple, c'est non. Absolument pas. Je suis une personne qui, sur le plan financier, j'ai en fait 4 casquettes. Donc, je gère l'entreprise stratégie, je gère un parti politique, je suis dans le conseil d'administration d'une ONG et je gère mon patrimoine familial. Ça fait 4 caisses et ces 4 caisses distinctes et séparées. Et je dirais à tout jeune entrepreneur, la première des choses à faire en créant l'entreprise, c'est justement de mettre l'étanchéité entre votre caisse, votre argent personnel et l'argent de l'entreprise. Alors, comment ça se fait de manière pratique? Première chose, sur aucun de ces 4 comment dire, comptes en banque sur lequel j'ai un regard, est-ce que moi, personnellement, je détiens le chéquier? Je mets de l'étanchéité en me bloquant moi-même. Je n'ai pas la capacité de me lever maintenant et d'aller à la banque et prendre l'argent dans le compte de stratégie. Je mets l'étanchéité. C'est en fait mon directeur administratif et financier qui a tous les chéquiers des comptes de stratégie. Je signe ces comptes, je signe les chèques, j'approuve les dépenses, etc. Mais pour décaisser, je dois passer par lui. Alors, vous n'allez pas, pour ceux qui ne le font pas, vous ne pouvez pas imaginer cette simple petite barrière, combien ça vous permet de vous contrôler. Le simple fait que vous devez, en fait, vous avez mis en place des procédures, parce que mon financier aussi, si je veux sortir l'argent du compte, il va me demander pourquoi. Parce qu'on ne sort pas l'argent du compte de l'entreprise parce qu'on veut. On la sort pour régler une dépense de l'entreprise. Donc, le simple fait qu'il y a une autre personne à qui je dois rendre compte si je dois faire un décaissement, ça crée une étanchéité qui me met un contrôle que je trouve nécessaire et très, très important. Deuxième chose, c'est que je suis la CEO de stratégie, je suis l'actionnaire principal, majoritaire même. Toutefois, j'ai un salaire à stratégie. Mon argent à stratégie ne dépasse pas mon salaire. Donc, j'ai un salaire fixe. À la fin du mois, je reçois mon salaire et je fais les dépenses qui conviennent à mon salaire. Si jamais, comme tout autre employé dans l'entreprise, je me retrouve dans une situation difficile et que je dois et que j'ai besoin d'un prêt, je fais comme tous les autres employés de stratégie et je fais une demande pour une avance salaire ou quelque chose comme ça. Et il y a la traçabilité de ça dans leur comptabilité de stratégie. Donc, il faut comment on appelle ça, une discipline personnelle que vous mettez en place. Il faut avoir des règles et il faut, en tant que CEO, vous devez être le premier à respecter les règles, sinon personne d'autre ne va les respecter. Je peux vous dire pour tous les autres entités dont je fais partie de la gestion, il y en a pour qui le compte du parti politique, le compte de l'ONG, je ne suis même pas signataire à la banque. J'approuve les dépenses, on a un système où je dois approuver les dépenses, mais c'est d'autres personnes qui signent à la banque. Donc, je crois qu'il y a des petites barrières pratiques qu'on peut mettre en place, systémiques, pour éviter cette confusion. Vraiment, j'aime votre question parce que je peux vous dire en tant que consultante que dans les PME dans lesquelles nous avons fait de la consultation, on voit ce problème tout le temps, des gestionnaires, des CEO qui confondent le compte de l'entreprise et leur compte personnel. C'est la catastrophe. C'est la route pour aboutir à la catastrophe et c'est très important d'avoir un petit système en place pour éviter cela.
Merci beaucoup, Ka. C'est vraiment intéressant. J'apprends moi-même et j'espère vivement que tous nos différents auditeurs sont véritablement en train de bénéficier de cette partage d'expérience. En tant qu'entrepreneur, on est appelé à faire face aux challenges et à coup sûr, c'est notre capacité à aller au-delà de ces challenges qui nous permettront de rester en compétition, de rester véritablement solide et de construire une organisation pérenne. Pour faire face aux challenges, il y a certainement beaucoup de choses que nous devons déjà commencer à faire. Premièrement, nous avons besoin de construire notre identité, définir clairement ce pourquoi nous sommes là, et cela passe véritablement par cette analyse de l'environnement, qu'il soit l'environnement politique, que ce soit sur le plan économique, le plan social. Il est important de toujours savoir qu'est-ce qui se passe sur le marché et de clarifier et d'être sûr vraiment est-ce qu'il y a de réelles opportunités dans le secteur d'activité dans lequel nous souhaitons nous lancer en tant qu'entrepreneurs. Parce que tout dépend de nous, mais aussitôt que nous nous sommes lancés, il est clair, il est important pour chaque entrepreneur, chaque leader de construire une organisation qui est basée sur des valeurs personnelles, des valeurs d'entreprise, parmi lesquelles la dignité, l'intégrité, parce qu'il est important de véritablement avancer en construisant sans se compromettre, en s'assurant qu'on ne laisse pas de peau de banane en route que nous allons venir un jour trouver. C'est important de mettre les standards. It's important for you as you create your organization, your company, to make sure you set the standard high enough to make sure that you want to be the best, not only for a specific geographical area, but at any time and anywhere, because you want to be the best. You have to deliver the best services. You have to provide the best products. You should have the best people. You should have the best system. You just have to be the best wherever you want to go. And most important, as a leader, finances is usually a problem. As you raise finance to start your business, you need also good skills to manage these finances well. And what I would like to say here from what Ka just said is the bank account of the company is not the purse of the leader. So you need to make a difference on that and make sure you are not just using the money the way you want and when you want. So you need to make a distinction on that to make sure that as you grow, the people you are building are also learning from you and will be able, when they create their own company, to implement the same values, the same system, the same process. We have a participant who would like to take the floor, and I will invite Mr. Thierry Diffen to open your mic and your camera, and please take the floor.
Oui, bonsoir.
Bonsoir Thierry, tu as la parole.
Merci pour la parole. J'ai appris encore beaucoup de choses aujourd'hui et je continue d'apprendre avec ce partage d'expérience. J'aimerais insister sur l'aspect lié au financement. D'abord, au début du lancement de stratégie ou bien d'une autre affaire de façon globale, mais j'aimerais avoir l'expérience de Madame K. Comment est-ce que vous avez fait face en tant qu'une très petite entreprise au début à la question épineuse de l'accès au financement? Comment est-ce que vous avez pu mobiliser les fonds pour démarrer l'activité, d'une part? D'autre part, maintenant, aujourd'hui, comment est-ce que vous faites pour réussir à rester, je dirais, crédible vis-à-vis des partenaires? Parce qu'il y a certains types de marchés, pour les gagner, il faut justifier d'une certaine surface financière. Et sur ça, les entreprises africaines, surtout les très petites entreprises ou bien les PME même, n'arrivent pas souvent à faire la compétition, quand bien même elles ont les compétences et l'expérience à faire valoir, sont souvent bloquées par le fait qu'on se dit qu'elle ne peut pas préfinancer X ou Y activité et on ne va pas lui donner un marché alors que peut-être qu'elle a les compétences. Comment est-ce que vous essayez de gérer ça pour pouvoir être compétitif au niveau international, parce que vous êtes vraiment tourné vers l'international? Donc voilà mes deux préoccupations.
Merci beaucoup Thierry, excellente question. Alors pour le financement initial, on doit dire que bon, un cabinet conseil, ça ne demande pas de très gros investissements. C'est pas comme si c'est pas comme des personnes qui vont investir dans l'industrie ou autre chose. Donc on n'avait pas besoin de trop d'argent. On a commencé stratégie avec un capital de 10 millions de francs CFA et c'était intéressant parce que aujourd'hui ça s'appelle du crowdfunding. À l'époque on n'avait jamais entendu parler de quelque chose comme ça, mais on a eu l'idée tout de même d'aller vers nos amis, notre famille, etc. et de demander des petits montants. Donc, demander à des personnes d'investir des petits montants. Et c'est comme ça qu'on a levé les fonds pour démarrer stratégie. Maintenant, je vais vous raconter une anecdote. La personne qui a investi le plus gros montant, c'était 1 million. La personne qui a investi le plus gros montant en dehors de moi-même, c'était un monsieur que j'avais rencontré pendant la période des villes mortes au Cameroun. Pendant la période des villes mortes au Cameroun, il y avait des jours où il n'y avait pas de taxi. Et les gens se débrouillaient, donc il y avait beaucoup de clandos, même en ville, des gens conduisaient les clandos. Et donc par hasard, un jour, je suis en train de rentrer à la maison, ce monsieur me porte dans sa voiture, nous commençons à discuter ensemble et il s'avère que lui aussi, c'était un jeune rentré, je crois c'était du Canada ou de la France. Moi, je venais de rentrer des États-Unis et il m'a dit, écoutez, je n'ai pas trouvé de travail. Il avait même eu des expériences assez traumatisantes dans le monde de l'emploi. On l'avait pris, finalement, ce n'était pas ça. Donc maintenant, pour survivre, il était en train de conduire ce taxi clandestin, ce clando. Donc, il me dépose et moi, je lui dis, écoutez, je ne peux pas faire grand-chose, mais ce que je vais faire, c'est que moi, vous allez me prendre chaque jour pour aller au bureau. Et puis, à chaque fois que j'ai besoin d'un taxi, je vais faire appel à vous. Et voilà comment j'ai utilisé son véhicule. Et on avait même du travail à faire en dehors de Douala et il nous a conduits en dehors de la ville, etc. Et après, on est resté juste en contact comme ça, mais sans plus. Il a arrêté de conduire le clando, il a trouvé un emploi et il s'en est tellement bien sorti dans son emploi qu'il a investi, il a créé une entreprise qui se portait assez bien. Et quand je crée alors stratégie, je l'informe et je dis, voilà, je suis en train de créer stratégie. Et il me dit, moi j'avais complètement oublié cette période et tout, il me dit, dis-moi seulement le jour où vous allez créer, je vais prendre des actions. Et il a pris des actions ce jour-là pour 1 million, c'était le plus gros montant sur la table. Il ne m'a jamais, à partir de ce jour-là, même quand tu l'appelles pour les conseils d'administration, il te dit, écoute, moi, c'était pour marquer gratitude. J'étais dans une situation difficile. Toi, tu m'as aidé. Donc, moi aussi, au moment où tu bâtissais l'entreprise, j'investis. Donc, c'est pour dire que parfois, on ne sait pas là où on est en train d'investir et comment ça va être retourné vis-à-vis de nous. Donc, c'est comme ça qu'on a levé les fonds. Aujourd'hui, je vois des expériences très impressionnantes des jeunes Camerounais, des jeunes entrepreneurs camerounais qui lèvent de l'argent par le crowdfunding sur les réseaux sociaux, qui arrivent à mettre en place des systèmes de levée de fonds et qui font même appel à du venture capital en dehors du Cameroun. Je crois que j'ai vu une jeune start-up récemment qui a levé, je crois, 2 millions de dollars par ce moyen-là. Il y a une entreprise qui s'appelle Moano Invest, je crois, qui aide les entreprises à lever les fonds par ce moyen-là. Donc, aujourd'hui, je crois qu'il y a beaucoup de possibilités. Pour la deuxième partie de ta question, en ce qui concerne compétir au niveau international, c'est vraiment, tu poses une question vraiment, vraiment intéressante parce que c'est l'un des challenges de stratégie en ce moment. On a passé le premier cap. Donc, le premier cap était de passer de consultant national à consultant international, ce qui demande aussi une certaine surface financière. Donc, nous, on a pu passer le premier cap. Aujourd'hui, pour être en compétition pour des bids, pour des appels d'offres, voilà, pour des appels d'offres qui sont au-delà du million de dollars, par exemple, ça demande que votre chiffre d'affaires précédent soit à un certain niveau. Donc, nous, on y est presque sans franchir encore le cap. Donc, ce qui fait que nous sommes en pleine réflexion sur cette question. Une solution, c'est d'être en partenariat avec d'autres entreprises internationales. Donc, vous pouvez, avec l'expertise que vous avez, vous appuyer sur leur surface financière à eux, gagner des marchés et puis pouvoir dire, voilà, nous sommes déjà à tel niveau. Nous avons soumissionné parce qu'il faut toujours oser. Hein? Je dis toujours en affaires, ask, il faut demander. La pire des choses qu'on peut vous dire, c'est non. Et vous n'en avez pas avant de demander. Donc, il faut toujours demander. Donc, parfois, on a répondu à des appels d'offres où on n'avait pas tout à fait la surface financière, mais on a estimé qu'on a la compétence et on va démontrer le cumul de notre chiffre d'affaires sur plusieurs années. ça a marché une fois. Cette année-ci, on a perdu un contrat uniquement parce que on était compétent techniquement, le client voulait travailler avec nous, mais on n'avait pas cette exigence en termes de surface financière. Donc, ça arrive encore qu'on perde des marchés à cause de ça. On est en train de trouver des solutions par rapport à cela. Et voilà, mais c'est un challenge réel pour les entreprises africaines.
Yes, Madam Kavala, thank you so much for that explicit answer. I will proceed to the next, and before that, I think you are articulating lots of values that we highly cherish. For instance, protecting the integrity of Africa, fighting against brain drain, and motivating our belief that we can do it. So I cherish this idea so much. Sometimes it's really hard to get people to understand that. So back to Cameroon with the ruling party in order to secure business activities, including tax evasion and compromise on some standards. Some business people categorize that as being smart. You see people cross the carpet and they claim, oh, I've wasted a lot of time in the opposition, and it's a smart move for me, to find business deals to move on. However, you have chosen the path of integrity while standing your grounds on truth and being a voice for the voiceless. Is there not a big price you are paying for this?
Thank you, James. Really, I love all these questions because they are right in our reality. It's not this is it's not the stuff of theory in books, but our reality on the ground. I think that one, again, I go back to that point of personal mission and vision. What do you want to accomplish personally? I think I love strategies. Strategies, I often say it's my first baby. I really love strategies, but there is a kawala apart from strategies. I remember once the tax people were going to shut us down, and I was so afraid and I was so confused, and I called my mother, my late mother at the time, and she said, well, Ka, did you create strategies or did strategies create you? And she was like, what is the worst thing that can happen if they shut down the company? And I was like, well, I will rest for a little while and then I'll pick it back up. So she reminded me that I was the creator of the company. The company did not create me. And I think that first you have to decide who you are, what it is you want to do, and what is, I love your question about the price you're willing to pay. And I put it in very simple terms. For me, I want to get up in the morning, look in the mirror, and I want to like the person who is looking back at me. I really want to like that person. I want to feel comfortable. I want to feel proud of that person who is looking back at me. I'm not willing to pay the price of getting up in the morning, looking in the mirror and having to lower my eyes because I feel a bit ashamed of the person who's looking back at me. For me, that price is too expensive. So I'm not willing to pay it. And so I'm not willing to make the kinds of compromises that people would make by joining the ruling party and thinking they can do business. And the most interesting thing, James, I can tell you, I have been in this environment for 25 years. I have friends who have taken that, who have made that choice. I've observed other people who have made that choice. So many of them do not do well in business. So many of them do not do well in business because business is about business. It's about running a business. It's about being able to identify a market, clients in that market, building up a product and delivering it to those clients. That is what builds a sustainable business. So when you start to feel dependent on your connections, on who you know, on this, that, and so on, you sometimes stop running your business as you should. And very often the business will go under, will fall apart. And so there are a lot of examples. I mean, it's not everybody, but there are a lot of examples of people who have chosen that path of thinking, I can join the ruling party for business and so on. And I see a lot of examples where the business does not do well. But even if it were to do well, and some of them do well, personally, I'm not interested just because I would not be able to look at myself in the mirror. I don't want to compromise on questions of justice, on questions of integrity, on questions of being able to say whether something is wrong or not. I want to have, I don't know what is the price of freedom. I think I have a lot of freedom because of the choices that I have made. And that freedom to me is precious beyond all. I think that once again, I'm not somebody who would tell somebody you have to make this choice or you have to make that choice. But I think it's important that you examine things, you look at them well, and you think about who you are, and you ask yourself, is this the choice? Is this the choice for me? For me, it's definitely not the choice to join the ruling party. And I think one of the most important things, I feel like one of the most important contributions I have to Cameroon, to Africa, is the fact that I can show young Cameroonians and I can show young Africans that you can be independent politically and be successful in business. I think that's a huge contribution to make to our environment and to our society and our continent as a whole.
Et, merci beaucoup, Madame Kavala. Parlons d'environnement. C'est vrai que vous avez dit beaucoup de choses assez intéressantes. Votre entreprise est notamment, on va subir en fait les conditions, les dures conditions en fait de notre environnement au Cameroun et en Afrique de manière générale. Donc, on sait que pour des entreprises, c'est très, très compliqué, surtout pour des entreprises qui ont une certaine taille, qui font plus dans le conseil. Donc, je le dis à titre personnel parce que c'est des difficultés également auxquelles je fais face dans la gestion quotidienne de mon entreprise. Mais j'aimerais savoir, selon vous, qu'est-ce qu'il faut faire en fait pour améliorer l'environnement des affaires au Cameroun? Quand on sait que le Cameroun a été classé 167e au classement mondial Doing Business. Donc, qu'est-ce qu'il faut faire pour vous pour avoir un meilleur environnement des affaires? Allô?
Oui, allô. Merci pour cette question. Alors, vous le savez, hein, parce que je suis une femme publique et que ça ne se cache pas, que le Cameroun me fait très mal au cœur politiquement parlant. Hein, la politique au Cameroun ne va pas bien et ça me fait vraiment mal au cœur. Je crois que le mal que j'ai sur le plan économique est peut-être encore plus profond, parce que je peux même comprendre que les gens veuillent garder le pouvoir, etc. Et donc, ils font un certain nombre de choix politiques. Je n'arrive pas à comprendre pourquoi nos dirigeants ne font pas les choix économiques qui peuvent permettre à ce qui, à mon avis, est l'un des pays les plus bénis dans le monde, économiquement parlant, de véritablement prendre son envol. Et ce que je vais vous dire, j'ai raconté en début de cette séance combien on a du mal, même moi parfois, on a du mal à avoir de l'espoir parce que en 2009-2010, ça a été dit à l'introduction, j'étais dans le Cameroon America Chamber of Commerce. Nous avons fait des propositions au gouvernement sur l'environnement des affaires. Je n'étais pas encore en politique. À cause de nos propositions sur l'amélioration de l'environnement des affaires, et du plaidoyer que nous avons mené jusqu'au niveau international, j'ai été sélectionnée par la Banque mondiale comme l'une des femmes, parmi 5 femmes cette année-là, qui influençaient le monde des affaires. Donc, aujourd'hui, il y a une série qui ne sont pas nouveaux. La première des choses, c'est avoir un environnement des affaires qui est transparent, où les règles sont connues et où l'entrepreneur peut agir en connaissance de cause. C'est-à-dire que il ne faut pas que ce que vous allez payer à la douane soit une surprise pour vous. Il ne faut pas que les impôts que vous allez payer soient une surprise pour vous. Il ne faut pas que les procédures administratives que vous devez suivre soient des choses que vous découvrez. Donc, l'entrepreneuriat, en entreprenant, on prend un risque. Donc, pour prendre ce risque-là, le plus d'informations certaines qu'on a, mieux on peut prendre le risque. Donc, le Cameroun rend l'information pour l'entrepreneur floue. On n'est pas clair sur ce qu'on va payer pour enregistrer l'entreprise, ce qu'on va payer comme impôt, qu'est-ce qu'on va payer pour dédouaner quelque chose, etc. Donc ça, c'est un élément transversal très important. Si je nous compare à un pays comme le Rwanda, vous pouvez vous asseoir pratiquement au Cameroun, aller en ligne et créer une entreprise au Rwanda. Toute l'information est disponible, les procédures sont informatisées, vous n'avez pas besoin de voir quelqu'un en personne, vous pouvez mener vos affaires. Donc, la transparence, c'est une première chose. Bien sûr, un frais énorme dans le même volet, c'est la corruption. Et les deux vont de pair. Plus les choses sont opaques, mieux c'est pour la corruption. Parce que si je ne sais pas ce que je dois payer, si ce n'est pas clair, ce n'est pas transparent, ben ça donne l'opportunité à quelqu'un de venir me dire, écoutez, venez me voir, je peux réduire ce que vous devez payer, etc. etc. Donc, la corruption est un autre mal qui freine vraiment les investissements au Cameroun. L'infrastructure au Cameroun piétine vraiment, que ce soit les routes, que ce soit l'Internet. Regardez-nous, on est en train de faire une conférence virtuelle et on est tout le temps en train de vérifier est-ce que l'Internet marche ou ça ne marche pas, etc. Donc, les infrastructures sont un gros problème. Moi, j'ai beaucoup travaillé avec les agriculteurs dans notre pays. L'agriculture camerounaise a un potentiel extraordinaire. Mais les gens ont du mal à investir pour produire plus parce qu'ils n'arrivent déjà pas à écouler ce qu'ils produisent, faute de route, faute d'accès au marché. Donc, les infrastructures, aujourd'hui, j'ai dit non à un rendez-vous sur Yaoundé parce que comme l'avion ne marche pas en ce moment, je n'ai pas vu comment je pouvais aller sur Yaoundé, faire quelque chose en 2-3 heures de temps et rentrer sur Douala. Il faut 5 heures de route pour arriver à Yaoundé, 5 heures de route pour rentrer entre les deux plus grandes villes du Cameroun. Donc, l'infrastructure, c'est tout un problème. La justice est un très, très grand problème. Les entrepreneurs ont besoin d'un environnement juridique certain, sûr. Je sais que si je vais sur le marché, j'ai un problème en affaires, je peux investir en sachant que les règles sont claires. Si mon partenaire enfreint les règles, la justice sera là pour moi. Beaucoup de gens ne le savent pas. L'investissement financier au Cameroun est très impacté par la justice. C'est-à-dire que ceux qui ont des fonds pour investir à moyen et à long terme, c'est-à-dire des investissements sur 5 ans, sur 10 ans, sur 20 ans, comme on le fait dans d'autres pays, on ne les fait pas au Cameroun parce qu'on a un environnement juridique incertain. Personne ne veut risquer son argent au-delà de 1-2 ans dans un environnement qui est incertain. Maintenant, il y a tout ce qu'on peut dire sur l'accompagnement des entrepreneurs qui manque énormément, c'est-à-dire tout ce qui est formation, tout ce qui est accompagnement, qui, sous d'autres cieux, se fait à partir des collectivités locales pour être très, très proche des entrepreneurs. Et le dernier point que je vais évoquer, c'est un point que je trouve n'est pas suffisamment évoqué, l'énergie économique de l'Afrique, du Cameroun, est dans le secteur informel. C'est dans le secteur informel qu'on trouve des entrepreneurs, travailleurs qui, contre vent et marée, sont en train d'entrer dans le marché et de s'en sortir malgré tout. Et c'est un secteur qu'on ignore. C'est un secteur à qui on ne donne pas la possibilité de se formaliser progressivement, d'entrer progressivement dans l'économie formelle, et on perd des entrepreneurs dans ce secteur, ou bien les gens restent dans ce secteur informel parce qu'en fait, ils trouvent le coût du formel trop élevé. Ils se disent que voilà, je vais payer des impôts qui sont hors prix, je vais avoir un harcèlement administratif.
Ok.
S'il vous plaît, quelqu'un qui a son micro ouvert. Donc ces différents éléments-là sont des éléments qui freinent notre développement économique. Je trouve les Camerounais sont entrepreneuriales à un degré vraiment extraordinaire. Et je crois fermement que dès qu'on met en place un environnement qui est juste un tout petit peu plus favorable pour ces entrepreneurs, on va voir une croissance économique spectaculaire dans notre pays.
Thank you very much, Ka, for these points. Raphaël, do you still have a question?
Oui, j'ai juste une dernière question. Donc, j'aimerais savoir, au regard de tous ces challenges, toutes ces difficultés, pour vous, alors, le cabinet stratégie, c'est quoi le secret pour perdurer aussi longtemps dans cette scène entrepreneuriale? L'environnement des affaires n'est pas du tout bon. Parfois, il faut également dire que avec vos activités politiques, je suppose que vous êtes dans un environnement où le gouvernement peut également décider peut-être de vous mettre parfois des bâtons dans les roues, la concurrence. Donc, la somme de tous ces aliments, de tous ces éléments, je me demande comment est-ce qu'au bout de 25 ans, votre cabinet est toujours là, toujours présent, toujours aussi performant. Donc, qu'est-ce que vous pouvez nous dire à ce sujet?
OK, je vais répondre et puis, entre-temps, Aurélie, il y a des mains de l'autre côté. J'ai vu Monsieur Bénin et puis je crois avoir vu Monsieur Mbia. Je vais répondre d'abord à la question de Monsieur Songué. La première des choses, c'est que business is business. Hein? Comme je vous ai dit, je ne confonds pas mon entreprise avec la politique, avec… non. La survie d'une entreprise dépend d'identifier un marché, de connaître les clients qui sont sur ce marché et de livrer un produit excellent. C'est ça qui garantit la durabilité d'un business. Donc, quand il faut faire mon business, je suis vraiment focalisée sur le business. Je suis hyper exigeante vis-à-vis de mon équipe. Comme je vous ai dit, on livre de produits de classe internationale. Nous avons, c'est toujours surprenant, et pour eux, et parfois même pour nous, on a des clients américains, on a des clients allemands. Ça veut dire que des Américains et des Allemands font appel à des Camerounais. Notre cabinet est à 100% camerounais, font appel à des Camerounais pour venir leur aider à faire la planification stratégique, à développer leurs organisations, à faire des formations en leadership, à faire du team building pour leurs équipes. Et ça, c'est parce que nous sommes compétitifs sur le plan international. Et c'est la chose fondamentale à faire. Ça, merci pour cette question, M. Songué, parce que j'ai dit que les Camerounais sont très entrepreneuriales. Je m'inquiète un peu pour votre génération. J'ai des collègues sûrement qui sont en ligne qui sourient un peu. Je m'inquiète un peu pour votre génération parce que votre génération Internet, là, je vois des jeunes personnes de 23 ans qui n'ont jamais rien fait dans la vie, qui n'ont jamais bâti aucune organisation, qui n'ont jamais fait c'est-à-dire vendre des arachides au bord de la route, parce que vendre des arachides, c'est énorme comme expérience entrepreneuriale. Ils n'ont pas résolu le moindre problème organisationnel ou bien de business, et ils sont coachs. Ils sont coachs. Alors, moi, quand je vois ça, je dis, mais ils sont en train de coacher quoi, là? Qui? Je vois des personnes, je suis toujours très curieuse. Moi, ma vie sur les réseaux sociaux, en fait, c'est votre génération qui m'intéresse, surtout les entrepreneurs, surtout ceux qui sont en train de créer. Donc, je suis toujours très intéressée quand je vois des produits made in Cameroun, des gens qui offrent des services made in Cameroun, etc. Trop souvent, récemment, sur Twitter, j'ai vu une jeune dame qui dit qu'elle fait dans la décoration. Elle avait 2-3 photos assez intéressantes. On fait appel à elle parce qu'on est en train de refaire, on est en train de faire un petit relooking à stratégie, et je découvre, non, et c'est pas du tout. En fait, elle est à la fois diététicienne, elle fait un peu de déco, mais elle n'a pas les fournisseurs qu'il faut, etc. Elle était obligée d'abandonner le travail en cours de route. You have to have a product. Il faut avoir un produit. C'est quoi votre produit? Quel est le produit que vous livrez mieux que toute autre personne? Quel est le produit que vous livrez au top niveau? Hein? Donc, je pense que le core business, c'est c'est quoi votre produit ou votre service et vous êtes en train de vendre à qui? Je vois aussi beaucoup d'amoureux de leurs produits ou de leurs talents, etc. Et ça, c'est formidable. Mais je veux savoir à qui vous vendez. Parce que tout produit, tout service, etc., n'est un business que s'il a un marché. Donc, vous pouvez découvrir un marché, vous pouvez créer un marché, ça arrive, mais il faut avoir un marché. Donc, je crois que le secret de stratégie sur ces 25 ans, c'est qu'on a pendant 25 ans un produit qui s'améliore, qui s'adapte. Cette année, on a dû faire une adaptation incroyable à cause du Covid. Je vous ai dit qu'on a continué à vendre sur le marché international. On a fait 100% de notre chiffre d'affaires sur le marché international cette année sans bouger du Cameroun. Nous-mêmes, on n'aurait pas imaginé que ce soit possible il y a un an de cela. On n'aurait pas pu imaginer. Mais quand on a compris ce que c'était que le Covid, le fait que nous, notre business essentiel, c'est qu'on rassemble beaucoup de personnes à un endroit, on voyage et on a essentiellement les conditions qui étaient bannies avec la pandémie. On était obligé de s'asseoir et de s'ajuster. On a fait cet ajustement sévère en environ 2 semaines. On a continué à s'ajuster tout au long, mais en environ 2 semaines, on était obligé de dire, OK, si on ne trouve pas un autre moyen de livrer notre service, on va perdre l'année. So, adjust to your market, know your market, adjust to your market, sell an excellent product. Ça, c'est le fondamental. Si vous êtes dans un environnement compliqué comme la nôtre, pay your taxes. On paye nos impôts à stratégie. On a une seule comptabilité, tous nos comptables peuvent vous le dire, on a une seule comptabilité, on paye nos impôts, on discute, hein, je crois qu'on a 2 ou 3 contentieux avec l'État du Cameroun sur la question des impôts, mais on paye nos impôts. Donc, et les impôts, je crois, c'est normal de payer les impôts. On n'est pas très content au Cameroun parce qu'on ne sait pas ce qu'on fait avec, mais vous êtes une entreprise, vous êtes imposable. Ça fait partie de comment la société fonctionne. Donc, ça aussi, ça a créé notre durabilité. Parce qu'on ne s'est pas mis en situation délicate avec l'État qui pouvait leur permettre de nous attaquer d'une certaine manière. Et on n'est pas dépendant des relations, on est dépendant de nos produits. Les relations, c'est important hein, en affaires. Il faut les entretenir, il faut les cultiver, etc. Mais il ne faut pas être dépendant du fait que X est assis à tel endroit pour signer des marchés pour moi et c'est comme ça que je vais faire grandir mon entreprise. Non, il faut grandir parce que vous avez un produit qui est vendable sur le marché. Voilà.
Wow, thank you so much for the fantastic answer.
Please go ahead, James. I think he has challenges. We are moving towards the end of our conference. And Ka, we have few questions.
To the next item, training programs for the empowerment of the girls to empower for political advantages. So Cameroon is a country where women are poorly represented in leadership. Some wait for suitable laws so they can have a space. But you manly fought your way through to the top with your intellectual ability and proactivism and resilience. What message do you have to the women, the young girls who are waiting for a perfect atmosphere or for the power to be lowered for them to put their God-given leadership skills to work at the service of the nation? Thank you.
Okay, James, we lost you for a second, but I think I got the essence of the question. okay, one, I disagree with you. Women are not waiting for the bar to be lowered. Women are fighting it out, and you guys make it so hard for them out here. You know, I say this jokingly, but very often you're going to find women are better. And they are better because they have had to overcome so many obstacles to get to the same place as the guy who has gotten there. So I think that my word to young women is you are enough. Every young woman should know that she is enough, and don't let anybody tell you you are to this, or you are not, you should be like this, or you should be, you as you are enough. And my message to young women is simply step up to the plate and grab the opportunity. The biggest advantage that men have, I can tell you, we do recruitment, and I often say, you will say this job needs a master's degree and 10 years experience. A young man who has a bachelor's degree and 2 years experience, he's going to apply for the job. He's going to try. The woman who has a master's degree and 8 years experience, she's going to say, oh, but they said 10 years experience, so I don't think I can go for this because they said 10 years experience. So I think the thing my message to young women is try. Put yourself out there. You have what it takes. And if you don't have it, you can learn. So the element we need to build up in our young women is self-confidence, is the willingness to try. And then I have a message for you, for the men. Open the door. Let the young women in. Just open the door. Give them a chance. Give them a chance to prove themselves. Take into account that many obstacles have been put on their way to get where they are. So open the door and provide them with a chance. And as you know, James, I do a lot of mentoring of young women. I am always willing to come and speak with young women if you invite me, young women entrepreneurs, young women students, and so on, so that we can have that talk. In our mentoring sessions, we can have very touch on some of those details. Women get sexually harassed in the workplace. They get sexually harassed at school, so we can discuss some of those issues that may not be discussed in other places. My message to young girls is that you are enough. Go out there and do it.
Well, thank you so much for those reassuring words to the girls. I hope they are listening. Yeah, so one thing with very big companies, big firms or consultancy firms, is that when they deliver quality work, they tend to attract a lot of other, jobs coming in. So how do you manage time? How do you manage the organizational part that you have, that you are able to, to ensure that you turn in work on time to safeguard posterity?
Very good question. Very tough part of being a consulting firm. Consulting firms, you sit, you have no work, and then all of a sudden you have 10 jobs at the same time, and you need to deliver all of them on the same day. So I think we try to do that by having project teams, as I mentioned earlier, and spreading people out on different projects. Our projects always have a project leader who is really, we are planners, so we help our clients to plan, and we are really quite strong at planning ourselves as strategies. So at the beginning of a project, we will always plan the project out all the way to delivery. We have a calendar that we are following in terms of activities. We have people on the team who are keeping us on track to be able to deliver on time. And there are times when we have to say no. it is, as a consultant, if you're not going to be able to deliver, my first response to a client will be to check and see, can we negotiate the deadline? Can we, is it possible for us to do it for you, but put it at a later date? And then if that is not possible and we really can't deliver, it's much better to say no. To tell your client, if you say no because you are respecting that client's time, then you leave the door open to continue to do business next time. If you say yes and then you don't deliver, chances are they're not going to do business with you again. So so we have. I'm a stickler for planning. My teams I get on their nerves because I'm always like, where's the plan? Where's the activity planner? Where have we planned out the project to make sure that we can deliver on all of these things. James, I want to take advantage of your comment to talk about something that I meant to talk about with Mr. Songe when he was asking about finance. I think another really extremely important thing for young companies to plan is cash flow. So a signed contract, money on paper, is not money in the bank. And I think one of the things that mistakes that small businesses make is that they see money on paper, they've signed a contract, and they think, we're happy, we have that money, it's in the bank. It's not. And I think one of the things that we see in working with our clients that really brings down small companies is managing cash flow. Because you could have signed a contract for 100 million francs CFA. If the client is going to pay you in 6 months' time, how are you paying your salaries within those 6 months? How are you paying your rent? How are you getting the raw material that you need to be able to deliver the product that you are going to be paid for in 6 months' time? So managing cash flow, we have a cash flow management tool that we update every week because cash flow shifts so much. A client tells you, I'm going to pay you on Monday. They end up paying you on Friday. That's a week gone, where if you had planned expenses and crucial expenses, you may be completely off track. A client says they're going to pay in September, they end up paying in December. This is going to throw you off track. So managing cash flow is really, really huge. It's a technical job, and I won't go into the details here. And my colleague, Peter, who manages our finances, would be a much better speaker for that. But I really think for small companies, this is something to master, managing cash flow. The other thing with finances is establish a banking relationship. Establish a relationship with your bank. Establish a relationship where you have banking history, where you can go to your bank and ask for an overdraft, where you can go to a bank and ask for a loan. It is essential for a company. So establish, and the only way you do that is by actually banking, because sometimes small companies, they don't want to take their money to the bank because they're cutting off fees, because this is happening and so on. Establish a banking relationship, a banking history. Most banks are not going to give you any kind of service until you've had a relationship for 6 months to 1 year. So establish that banking relationship and begin to understand how the bank works, what are its services, so that you can take advantage of those financial services. You need them as a company.
Thank you so much. Before I take the back seat for questions from the audience, just one last question. Political tolerance is very difficult. I find it hard associating with people who hold a different opinion from mine. They don't know, their own right and wrong system is very different from mine. So let me know from you, if you found somebody highly qualified, but who holds a different political opinion from you, will you be comfortable giving that person a job offer and working with that person at the office? Thank you.
That's a good one, James. And my answer is that yes, I would be comfortable giving that person a job. A different political opinion. Where I will have difficulty is in fundamental values. I think that the values are universal. The values we have in a company is the values we have in life, is the values that we have in our individual relationships. So if I believe in justice, I believe in justice everywhere. So if you have a different political opinion, and what to me is a different political opinion is that, for example, I believe in economies, I just said, I believe in economic growth, which focuses from the grassroots up. So I think we should focus on our informal sector and start to build ways for that informal sector to formalize and to build bigger companies. Somebody else may have an opinion and say, no, we need to invest in having foreign direct investment and having a lot of different investors who come in. Our political opinions may be different. I am what people would call to the left of the political spectrum, more of a social democrat kind of person. If somebody is more for elite politics, which are handled by elites within a society, we have a different political opinion. But I think we would have difficulty in the office if you are against justice. You know, if your political opinion is that, oh, government can go out and arrest anybody that they like without justifying why these people have been arrested and without following due process of law and so on and so forth, the cohabitation is going to be difficult, because there we have divergences on values. I do know, because I've done it before, that I can work with somebody who is competent. If you're competent, you get the job done, but I don't like you as a person. I don't like you. I don't like your personality. I don't like certain things that you do. I'm not in my company to make friends. I have friends. They're so in my company, we're running a business together, and the contract that links us together is, can you do the job? Can you do it according to the company principles and values? And can you deliver on that? And can you deliver on that job? The rest of what you do in your life is your business. In the same way that, there are a few people at Strategies who are also politically engaged, but we are the minority. The vast majority of Strategy staff, they don't engage in politics, and they even tolerate us, just tolerate us when we are in our political kongosa in the hallway. so that's what I would say to that question.
Thank you so much. I take the back seat at the moment for the audience, and I can see Brice Mba had posed a question. It is in French. I don't know if you would like to read it out, or maybe somebody reads so you can attend to the question, please.
Thank you very much, James, for the amazing questions, which are really great. Yes, actually, we are giving the floor now to the audience. And Kai, you have 2 questions already, 3 actually. The first one is, are you a member of a business club where you are sharing all this knowledge, all this experience to make sure that much more people are really learning from you and able to take their companies to the next level? The second question from Julien Bia, who is in the energy sector technology. He's really coming back on human resources. How are you really doing? What is the secret of Strategies to build people without having the fear that either they will go suddenly, or how do you make sure, how are you sure that they are going to stay within the organization?
Great. Thanks for those questions. Right now, I think we are not a formal, no, I think we belong to ECAM. I have to verify actually. I think we are members of ECAM, but as you can tell, I'm not very active in ECAM. As I explained earlier, the way my path to politics, was very much through my business. And for many years, for over 15 years, I was part of the board of directors of the Cameroon American Chamber of Commerce, and shared a lot of business ideas like this. We used to do a lot of stuff with ESSEC and IESEC and so on. I think at strategies, and really, I get bothered a little bit because people always invite me as a speaker. I think at strategies, there are many interesting speakers, many people who can actually go into some of the details of what I've talked about, because they actually do it on a daily basis. And I think we are very open to sharing our experiences. We do not have so much time to organize these things ourselves, but we are very open, and you know, if people have business associations, if they have groups of young business people, we very much believe in giving back to our community. And so we're very happy to come and speak to you, or speak to any group that you would have put together at any time. We do not do much business in Cameroon. So that means that we have not invested in Cameroon business associations, because our business, our clients does not reside here. Our headquarters resides here, but it means that as a business, we don't have as strong of an interest in being a part of local business networks as we used to. We did used to be very, very active, and even created some business networks ourselves back in the day. To Julien's question about how do we train people without being afraid that they may stay or they may go. We don't. They may go. You know, what I've learned with human resources over time is that people may go. And here is the thing: you have to find your formula as a company. What strategies used to do back in the day, we always had a pipeline. When we were a growing company, that there was a period when we were hiring new consultants all the time, and we then had a pipeline. We would take a lot of people in academic internships. We hired some of our best consultants because they were academic interns at Strategy. We would take, if we needed to hire like 2 consultants, for example, we would take probably like 4 in professional internship. And we would invest in that training for 3 to 6 months for those 4 people, knowing we were only going to keep 2 more than likely at the end. And we do that because we know that some may go, some we may want them to go. we may decide that these are not the people for us. So I think that Cameroonians are very scared of 2 things. They're scared of training people who may leave. Don't be. This is the nature of the workforce, is that people come and they go. Try to do really good recruitment so that you have a good fit, so that you are investing in somebody who is likely to stay. Try to have conversations with that person about where that person is headed in their own professional life, so that you have a good fit. And then after that, take the risk. They may stay, they may go, but take the risk. The training is always it's always worth it. Two is don't be scared that Cameroonians are always scared somebody's stealing my idea. If I put this idea out there, somebody's going to steal it. Man, the market is so big. The market is so big. And if you are really good at what you do, you are the only person who can deliver it the way that you are going to be delivering it. My ex-employees, I cannot count now. I cannot count. But I think probably about 5 to 7 of them are also my competitors. They are consultants. They deliver very high class consulting services. They were trained by us, so they're good. I think there's a big enough market for them and for us. And we are not afraid of the fact that they have gone out and they've created a consulting company. Au contraire, we are able to discuss together, we are able to learn together, we are able to bid on contracts together. So I think this fear is it's not a legitimate fear. The market is so big. The market, especially when you are an SME, you're not going to supply the whole of Cameroon. So don't be so afraid of competition. Do what you need to do to be at the top of your game, to deliver that service in a way that makes you unique, that makes the customer need to come back to you, and keep on selling and keep on going out there to the market. So I would say, don't be afraid to train people. Find a formula that ensures that out of the number you invest the training in, you are going to be able to get what you need. And talk to people. If you are in a services business, I can tell you that most of the time, first 2 years, you are sure to keep your people. They're excited, they've just come in. And after 2 years, they kind of know the business. They start raising their heads and looking around and seeing what else is out there. That's a time to have a conversation, to make sure that they see their potential for growth in your company. They see their potential to progress in the company, and that you can move forward together. After 2 years, they are 4, 5 years old in the company. Big danger point, because now they're really good. And even if they are not looking, people are coming for them from outside. Your competitors are coming to talk to them to see whether they're interested in leaving. So another time to have a good conversation with people. 8, 10 years, another time. So I think that it's about managing your team in your company, and you should always have people in the pipeline. I think Julien got in a bit late, and one of the things I said is that at Strategies, nobody works solo. Nobody works by themselves. We always work at least in tandem, at least 2 people, so that you always have 2 people who know the client, 2 people who know the job, 2 people who have the history of that particular project, at least 2. If one person happens to leave abruptly, the knowledge is in the company. And of course, you should be building systems, and you should be capitalizing information in a way that does not make you dependent on individuals. In the same way that I, as a CEO, if I don't think that you are productive for my company, I will fire you in a minute, right? So in the same way, that individual is managing their career. And if they feel like I need to be somewhere else, they're going to go. You know, Julien, what I can tell you is that one of my big moments where I cried, I sat on a bench in Kribi and cried, was when Orange, you know, you can imagine for a company like Strategies, this was 2002 when Mobilis became Orange. So Strategies got the contract to help Orange do their change management, and we were doing workshops for the CEO and the direct reports, the CEO of Orange and all the directors. It was brand new. I mean, in Cameroon at that time, nobody was using local firms for that. They were flying in consultants from around the world. We got the contract with Orange. We did this fantastic project with them. And then guess what they did? They hired my 2 top consultants within 1 week. Within 1 week. So they decapitated my firm in 1 week's time. I cried. I sat down on a bench and I really wept as if somebody had died. And then luckily for us, because we had been working in tandem, because we had been working in teams, I was like, you know what? I didn't think these younger consultants were ready for leadership, but I'm just going to have to move them to the next level. We did, and we produced some of the best leaders that Strategies has seen. So, you know, it's going to happen, and you just adapt to it and you move on as a company.
Merci beaucoup pour cela. Nous avons retenu un ensemble de points qui permettront. Sorry. Allô? Donc, nous avons retenu un ensemble de points qui permettrait véritablement à tout entrepreneur d'avoir une entreprise qui est pérenne, c'est de réellement planifier ce qu'il souhaiterait exécuter, planifier à la fois ses finances, parce que c'est important d'avoir des finances qui sont bien gérées, mais encore faudrait-il les suivre et évaluer à chaque fois que nous évoluons dans notre culture. Il y a également notre environnement qui a besoin d'avoir un ensemble d'éléments qui sont bien pris en compte. On a besoin d'un environnement transparent. Nous avons besoin d'infrastructures, nous avons besoin de la justice. Et nous avons une toute dernière question qui vient de M. Bertrand Djou, étudiant en Allemagne, qui rêve de pouvoir créer une entreprise au Cameroun. And his question is, is there really hope for one business to thrive in Cameroon within these political conditions?
Aurélie, you really have an echo. I'm not sure what's happening. I didn't hear the question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, much better.
Okay. So the question is from Bertrand, who is a student, is there really hope for a business to thrive in Cameroon, considering the current political conditions?
Yes, Bertrand, there's so many businesses thriving in Cameroon. Yes, and you know, personally, if I was not in politics, I think I would have tried 3-4 other businesses. I am a serial entrepreneur, by the way. I've had different kinds of businesses. That's a conversation for another day. Yes, there are businesses thriving. It depends on what kind of business do you want to do. You know, I'm going to answer your question, and I see a question from Julien at the same time. So I'm going to answer those 2 questions at the same time. the 3 to 5 key things to do or to develop. One, know your market. I said it earlier. Who are you selling to? Who is your particular product? The way that you deliver it. What segment of the market are you selling to? You know, a product is not good. A product is, in business terms, a product can be good technically, but in business terms, a product is only good if it is being bought by somebody. So who is buying? So the 3 to 5 things, number one, I would be like, know your market. And when we say know your market, it's not saying, what can I say, as you know, it's not saying, I've seen recently, let me give an example. Recently, some young women came to see me, and you know, they said, we're launching a magazine, a physical magazine, you know, a physical magazine in hand. And they said, we're launching this magazine, it's a great product, and so on and so forth. And I said, really? Like, who is going to buy a magazine today? Like, what new thing is there about your magazine that would make people buy it? First of all of us are getting our information on the internet for free. So what is in your magazine that is going to make somebody buy it, spend money to buy it, that they cannot get on the internet? And they looked at me. And then they had a sample of the magazine, and I opened it up. The printing quality was bad. The pictures were bad. It was, you know, really bad typesetting. And I said, but look at the quality of what you are wanting to put on the market. Who, like, I wouldn't buy this. You know, who are you selling to? Who is your target? And they were kind of mixed up between charity and a business. They were like, oh, we want you to support us and so on. And I was like, no, I don't support businesses. I can be your client, but I'm not going to buy a product for, you know, if you are making a product, it has to be sellable. You have to be able to sell it on the market. So I would say number one is know your market. And in an environment, this goes to Bertrand, in an environment like ours, where you have a lot of informal business, knowing your market is knowing who are the formal businesses and who are the informal businesses. Do you know something, if you look at companies, look at a company like Nestle, you realize that Nestle today is selling, they're selling milk in little sachets. They're selling coffee in those little sachets. Nestle did not used to sell coffee. You could only buy coffee in a tin. I don't know if you are, you guys are so young, maybe you don't remember that. You could only buy the Nestle coffee in a tin. You know who was selling coffee in the little sachet and milk in the little sachet? The women in the market. The women in the market had realized that, you know, this coffee in a tin for 800 francs or for 1,000 francs does not correspond to the pocketbook of our market. So they were using the little nylon papers and they were repackaging Nestle's product, and they were taking that 800 francs tin of coffee and packaging it up into 12, 15 packets of 100 francs, and they were making, you know, 1,500 out of the tin. And this went on for years before Nestle figured out, like, oh, maybe I should change my packaging, you know? And if you travel, you will realize that you don't get those little sachets of coffee in European markets from Nestle. You don't get the little sachets of milk in European market. They have adapted to the African market, but the people who took them there were the market women. It was the people selling informally. So when you want to sell, study the formal businesses, but study the informal, because they are going to be your competition. Like I say, I believe so much in the informal sector in Africa. When you go there, you see innovation, you see creativity. Those guys know their market. They know how to adapt their product, the packaging, the pricing to the market that they are trying to serve. So learn from those business people. Secondly, is that what is your unique added value? What is the thing that is going to make the customer buy from you and not from anybody else? Our strategy slogan for our celebration of our 25 years is above and beyond. And we chose that slogan because it is a characteristic of our company that makes our customers come back. We are a consulting firm, and generally, when you look in our portfolios, you realize our customers stay with us 10 years, 15 years. They keep coming back and coming back. And that is because we go above and beyond. We are always delivering more than what the customer expected, more than what they thought was possible. We are always taking them to the next level. So it is what we do, planning, training, problem solving. A lot of other consultancies do it. So we are always asking ourselves, what takes it above and beyond? What is the thing that we are going to do that is going to make this client feel like, you know, I went to strategies and that was exactly the right place where I should be. This was exactly what where I needed to be. We had the best kinds of emails that we get. We got an email today where a client said, you know, we were about to put out a bid, but we want to make it a bigger bid and a longer term bid. And will you please bid for this? Because we worked with you before and we would really like to work with you again. That tells me that I have delivered a lot above and beyond. So I think it's important to ask yourself, what is the unique added value? What is the thing that is making my customers come back? And then 3, for all entrepreneurs, and I can tell you this because it's my weakness as well. Sometimes I'm in love with my product. I'm in love with the market. I'm in love with my customers. I hate the money part. I hate sitting down there and figuring out the cost of things and figuring out, you know, the business side of it. I always have a new idea. I want to implement my new idea. I'm pretty good at managing my staff. I want to give them opportunity and stuff. Make sure business is about making money. If it doesn't make money, it's not a business. So if you are not good at the money part, find somebody who is good and work with that person. And even when you work with that person, discipline yourself. So I don't like the money part, but I do it. I do it. I do it because you as a CEO, you as the business owner, you need to understand where your money is at, you know, whether what you're doing is profitable or not, where you are in your cash flow, how the finances are really working. You have to discipline yourself. If you didn't, I was lucky. I went to school. I have an MBA, so I went to school for business. If you didn't go to school for business, learn. Take a couple of classes, learn what is a balance sheet, learn what is cash flow, learn what it is profit and loss, learn how to calculate profit on a project. One of the things we try to do at Strategies is make sure that our projects are profitable. So we calculate actually to see how much time do we think we're going to spend on this, because what you bill, especially in the services business, what you bill to the client is never what you actually spend as time on a project. So you need to be checking and making sure that you are actually coming out on the profitable side. So those 3 things I would say: know your market, have a unique added value to your project, to your product, and stay on top of your finances. I think with those 3 things, yes, you can still do business in Cameroon even now and make money.
Merci beaucoup, Madame Kawala, pour cet brillant échange. Nous tirons vraiment à la fin de notre séance de partage. Et comme le dit l'habitude l'un de mes grands mentors, c'est vraiment la course, la grandeur d'une organisation dépend de la course et de la qualité de son leader. Et nous pouvons voir avec beaucoup de joie que grâce à votre leadership, Stratégie aujourd'hui est capable de célébrer 25 ans. Et comme nous avons retenu de ce moment, vraiment, toute organisation qui se veut proactive, qui se veut ambitieuse, qui se veut pérenne, a besoin véritablement de s'appuyer sur son marché parce que le business, c'est vendre. C'est la vente qui est au cœur de tout business. Et si nous avons créé une entreprise, c'est parce que nous voulons nous faire des revenus. Et pour cela, on a besoin d'avoir du personnel qui est recruté de manière objective, qui est formé, qui est accompagné et que nous pouvons maintenir, mais surtout avec qui nous pouvons également construire une relation durable même quand ces personnes sont parties de l'organisation. En tant qu'entrepreneur, en tant que chef d'entreprise, il est important pour nous de comprendre que nous avons également un environnement dans lequel nous évoluons et qui est important d'analyser à chaque fois. Dès qu'il se produit un événement, il est important de savoir qu'est-ce qui se passe autour de nous, avec qui est-ce que nous sommes en train d'évoluer en tant que partenaire, en tant que concurrent, parce que cela va nous permettre d'adapter également nos différentes stratégies. Mais surtout, dans notre environnement aussi, il est important de savoir que nous devons redonner à la communauté. Et cela également passe donc par le paiement de nos différents impôts qu'il faut faire et surtout construire la relation avec notre administration parce que cette administration-là est là et nous devons faire avec tout en restant intègre, tout en restant digne et nous assurer que nous protégeons également notre personnel tout au long de ce processus. Alors, voilà, ainsi dit pour notre conférence, quelques mots-clés que nous avons retenus également de cette intervention, c'est vraiment planifier ce que nous voulons faire, planifions nos finances, planifions nos équipes, planifions tout, gardons un regard sur ce que nous avons décidé de faire, assurons-nous que nous le faisons dans les standards internationaux, parce que rappelons-nous, nous sommes là pour être les meilleurs. Et en étant meilleur, on doit s'assurer qu'on fait du profit parce que c'est pour ça que nous avons été créés et que nous sommes en train d'exister en tant qu'entreprise. Nous allons donner un dernier mot à M. James Akaba. James, thank you very much for being with us. It has been a pleasure having you joining this session. Can you please just in 10 seconds give us a few closing remarks?
Thank you so much, Frank. It's been amazing, Kawala. We've had a lot of rewarding time with you. Thanks for being very vibrant, for being generous with your ideas. It's well established that successful people have a lot of other people to succeed, and we see this in you. So the ladies, the men, the generation of Cameroon are benefiting a lot. I look forward to a Cameroon where merit truly counts at the national level. Thank you, and I can't wait for another session. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, James. Thank you, everybody who joined us. Ka, I will hand over to you. We are celebrating 25 years today. What is your vision of the next 25 years? How are you seeing strategies? And yeah, with that, we'll be able to close our session. Over to you, Ka.
Thank you. Thank you. I first want to say thank you so much to James and Songwe, who came up with the initial questions to start off this conversation. Great questions. I really loved the questions that were really, you know, practical for our unique environment. And thank you to all those who attended and who continue to ask really, really really wonderful questions. I always love sharing with entrepreneurs, with people who are working in businesses or thinking about creating a business. And it's always a learning experience for me as well. So thank you very much for joining and for us having this conversation. 25 years to come, I see a couple of things. One is in politics, I talk a lot about political transition. So right now on my mind is strategies transition. I don't want to be CEO forever. I don't want to get where you know, my ideas are holding the company back instead of unleashing it forward. So I'm very much thinking about strategies transition right now. And how it is that I hand over to the next CEO of strategies. 25 years, as we mentioned, we are on that brink of really competing with the international firms, the big international firms on big contracts. I think within the next 5 years, that is also our next challenge, is really being able to be in that global marketplace as an African firm. There are no African firms in that space right now, and I think strategies can pull off a big first by getting to that level. And thirdly, for me, is we have amassed so much knowledge and so much information over time. How do we share this more? I think somebody raised that question. How do we share this more? How do we put this on videos so that it's on the internet? How do we put this on in books? How do we put this in online courses and so on, so that a much wider range of people can benefit from all of the knowledge that we have amassed over the years. So those are some of the things that I'm thinking of. Definitely growth to not just the African level, but the global level. Definitely growth in that other people should be taking over from me at the top leadership of the company, and growth in that we should be going digital. We should be making sure that what we've amassed as knowledge is out there benefiting the world. So 25 more wonderful years to come.
Thank you very much, Kat. Thank you to everybody. Wish you all a great evening, and looking forward to celebrating the 15th anniversary of Strategies with all of you. Bye-bye. Au revoir. À très bientôt.
Au revoir. Happy 25.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.